I am up earlier on a Saturday than I normally would be during the work week. This can't be good. Let's talk. This is Multimedia J Radio Style for Saturday, April 29th, 2017. Let's start the show.
Multimedia J Radio Style.
Birds are chirping, and I hope there isn't much else, because I am up on a weekend earlier than I would be during the work week. Am I nuts or what? Unfortunately, I'm up early because I'm here to do a spring sign-off of sorts for the radio style series and the studio style content. What's up, everybody? How have you been? Maybe your weekend's off to a better start than mine is, but I'm on this microphone this morning trying to get this in before things start getting noisy around here because, unfortunately, the neighborhood has changed. Now, previously, I've mentioned, I think I might have mentioned, I don't know if I got around to uploading it or not, but I've mentioned that I'm thinking of leaving the Geek House. And I actually have the notice of intent to vacate drafted. All I have to do is fill in the blanks and send it to the landlord and get the heck out of here. Really, between the 9 to 5 and the nonsense I've been putting up with outside of work, there's not much that's keeping me here at all. So, let's talk about what's been going on, shall we? In order to understand the situation that I'm in, you have to understand the concept of quiet enjoyment, which is a common law thing related to renting properties, being a property owner, etc. It's basically the covenant of quiet enjoyment is you agreeing, as usually it might even be in your lease, but it's you agreeing that you will not disturb your neighbors. In return, your neighbors will not disturb you. To put it nicely, in the last year or so, particularly in the last couple of months, the neighborhood's been changing in that respect. This used to be an oddity. It used to be a neighborhood that was in town, but was quiet enough that you wouldn't even know it most times. That has changed, particularly in the last couple of months with the arrival of some deadbeat dog owners. You know who I'm talking about. These are people who think that it'll be cool and it'll be cute to have a dog, little poochie woochie, and then they don't put the effort into properly training their pets to actually behave themselves. And so they end up with a dog that they can't handle, and eventually when we get nice weather like our early taste of summer these last couple of days, they give up entirely, and the dog winds up chained in the backyard or in a doghouse or out in the yard barking at their own shadow or whatever for hours on end, and it echoes all around the neighborhoods. And that's what we've had. There's a couple of folks that are in this predicament, and I don't even want to know how mad they're making their neighbors, but I'm hearing this from quite a ways away. It's not even the same neighborhood where this dog is coming from, but it's just, wow. I gotta take the commuter scooter one of these days and just zip around and see if I can find out which unlucky apartment or multifamily or whatever complex that this is coming from, and then, kind of do a salute to the neighbors of this person. But there's a couple of folks that are having these problems right now. And so, depending on the day and whose dog is out when, this place can be the furthest thing from quiet. This place can get like a kennel sometimes, because you know how it goes with redneck dogs. One starts barking at nothing, and then everybody else barks at the dog that's barking at nothing, and the vicious cycle continues until basically. I've seen this before. However, the dog owners in the hick town that I came from were better at keeping this under control than some of these folks around here who can't handle their pets. This isn't the only thing that's got me thinking of leaving, though. There's also spring construction. There's going to be some construction projects and heavy equipment banging around, of course. And being in Hicktown, and in the middle of a Hicktown, there's loud motorcycles and more of them. But all of this lends itself to this studio-style stuff being a flip of a coin in terms of when I can actually get it recorded. It used to be the case that, after dark, after everybody goes to sleep, things will quiet down and I can record some stuff. That's not the case anymore. Fido might be out there barking at nothing even after 10 o'clock at night. Last night, after 10 p.m., Wow. Here's the fun part with regards to the deadbeat dog owners. I don't think I'm going to have to do anything. I don't think I have to do a thing at all. Because if I'm annoyed by this, I don't want to even know what it's like for the neighbors of whoever's got this problem going on. So $10 says, I hear the echoing up the street, but I don't hear the screaming and hollering and banging on walls and doors and stuff. Yeah, freaking dog, get that thing to shut up. That's the part you don't hear when somebody's uncontrollable, well, not uncontrollable, but the pet that they don't want to properly train is echoing all around town. I don't know if the police will end up getting involved or something like that at some point due to noise after 10 p.m., but I got a nasty feeling that I'm probably not going to have to really do anything for this situation to resolve itself, but the question is when. That's not the only issue, though. There's been things with loud noises and loud construction and stuff like that. We got loud motorcycles like any other hick town, but it's just, I can't really reliably record studio-ish stuff at this place. And that's one of the reasons why I have not been a guest on Out of Continue since I've been here. It's not for a lack of being invited on the show. Staffa actually sent me an invitation months ago. And, I think I responded on Twitter and I did a video about it, but it's just, I can't really, unless I'm getting up at like 3 a.m. or something and trying not to wake the neighborhood, I don't really think there's much of an opportunity to really record studio type stuff like this anymore without the very real risk of getting interrupted, especially with how Staffa was doing things where there'd be a live YouTube stream of Out of Continues and whatnot. I don't know if it's like the Twit streams that used to exist with Leo Laporte and the folks where you saw him goofing around trying to get the show recorded, and then the actual edited together thing would show up as a podcast for download. I don't know if Staffa was doing that, in which case being interrupted wouldn't be such a bad thing for folks watching the YouTube stream, but I'm a perfectionist with this kind of stuff. If I want to make something that sounds like talk radio in some studio somewhere, I want it to sound like talk radio in some studio somewhere, by whatever means are necessary. And if I have neighbors or people in the neighborhood or construction equipment or Fido over there, well, you know how that goes. If Staffa is doing something similar to what Twit used to do with the live streams, then I might consider going back on the show and having some fun with that, because it is kind of a relaxed, goofy podcast about video games. But the kind of stuff that I like to do usually is stuff that sounds professional. But, I could always go more MTV-ish. If you ever seen those shaky camera reality shows about real life of whatever, I don't watch that stuff, so... Jersey Shore is still something that I might reference, and I might date myself by doing so. Regardless, that's not to say that I have to step away from everything that I do on here, just the more formal studio-ish stuff. Get back to the more relaxed, informal stuff. With WWMJ, get away from the Greenham parodies and get back to the more over-the-shoulder formats, but still try to get good show flow out of the deal, because that's what is dreadfully lacking on so many tech channels. I mean, I talk about show flow, and suddenly I notice it all over the place. People that they do like a 10-minute video and 3 minutes of it is blip, 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 blip. They don't actually get to the point until about 4 or 5 minutes in. That's something I've seen with my own stuff. Trying to watch like a video about something I did, I found myself wanting to use the skip bar. Like, this is about this, that, and the other, so which skip over. Yeah, it's just, right. So I am not short of ideas, but the studio style stuff, this place is not a very good place to do that stuff with. I do have the documentation if, say, there's a cottage out in the woods or something that's, even if it's more expensive, I have seen those places come up for rental once in a while. I might actually inquire about a few places and go to a few showings. But then again, here's the thing. If I left town and I went back to the woods, I would have less dog noises and more like animal noises. Like there'd be more birds chirping in the trees or something like that. And then what am I going to do? Say they're deadbeat birds chippering away at 6 a.m? Stuff like that. And of course, there could be things with like bugs and gypsy moths and snakes and other stuff like that. I might miss having some bozo that can't handle their dog dumping their dog in the backyard just to get a break from it, even if it's going and they're sweating their ass off in the summer months with the windows closed in their place because they're trying to not hear their dog that they can't handle. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. But then again, so is my situation with the 9 to 5, but we're not going to get into that. let's just say that Semper Reformanda is a year, this year, Semper Reformanda is a year of change. Part of that could be the job. Part of that could be where I live. Nothing is off the table. But it is very safe to say that this place has been the worst place that I've ever lived when it comes to quiet enjoyment. It's kind of like college in a sense, but I think even college was quieter than this. Or I think it was that the noise wasn't so jarring. Yeah, you would hear like something that sounded like a radio playing off in the distance when somebody other than your next door neighbor was having a party somewhere on campus. And there'd be folks wandering around outside and whatnot. But for the most part, it was a relaxed party atmosphere, things like that. It wasn't, something where that the noise is coming from somebody who doesn't want to take the time to properly train a pet. And this is the part where we give the shout-outs to the people that actually do. Because I do know there are a couple of folks in these neighborhoods that have dogs, and I don't even know they have dogs. They train the dogs so well that they become like cat plus, and it's like they're not even there. I'm like, yay, cool. So they have a dog that doesn't make a ton of noise, but if somebody were to, say, break into their place, grrr. And that's one of the reasons why folks have dogs in the first place. Is it's some kind of security thing where they think that just having a dog would deter would-be thieves or something like that, and then they go get a golden retriever or something like that. Look, what people do on their own time is their own business. It's when what they do on their own time starts affecting others that it becomes a problem. And in this case, you got a situation, oh, a cutesy doggy walkie, I want a family dog. Oh, crap, I actually have to pick up the dog's crap and train it and stuff like that. Oh, shoot, what did I get myself into? Yeah, we have some folks who've had that happen, and, well, let's just say that, me being annoyed by it, I'm probably one of the better responses in terms of annoyed neighbors than maybe some of the folks that are banging on walls like, get that thing to shut up or get rid of it! Da-da-da! I can't sleep because of Poochie out there barking at 10 o'clock at night. So that's the part you don't hear because, well, in a case like this, people aren't as loud as the pets causing the problems. Now, we've had an early taste of summer, and part of that is overnight lows in the 50s and 60s. So if I don't want this place, I'm looking at the barometer, it's at 3 o'clock, pushing 3:30. I'd best get some cool night air in here before the sun comes up if I don't want this place to be sweltering all day long for myself and the computers and whatnot. The computer is more effective than me, of course. Heats. I still have all the fans all the way down on Monolith from winter mode. I might actually start turning some of them back up. So, yeah. Early summer, it's looking to be a noisy one, and so I'm going to be switching the content to stuff that's more informal, to where I can laugh at an interruption like some bozo's dog going nuts in the backyard, instead of having the, how am I ever going to get this recorded? So, for hopefully not the last time, this is Multimedia J Radio Style. Thanks for listening. This is Multimedia J signing off. Thanks for stopping by.